As World War II raged on, each side worked to build an atomic bomb. The United States ultimately won that race, dropping bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This led to the United States and its allies triumphantly defeating Japan. The tragic loss of life has served as a deterrent of using nuclear weapons. On September 1st, 1939, World War II began. The United States stayed out of it for quite some time. Japan bombed Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, and about 3,500 people were killed. The United States then got involved. The United States had wanted to get revenge on them, but could not find a way. When the United States was informed by Albert Einstein that Germany was building a bomb that would be triggered by atomic reactions, the United States government began pouring into what would amount to more than $2 billion into the Manhattan Project. They started building an atomic bomb at top-secret bases in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and Los Alamos, New Mexico. In 1915, Albert Einstein discovered equations which would make it possible for people to create an atomic bomb. In 1939, Werner Heisenberg figured out engineering that would make it possible for such a bomb to be created. People who came to help build the atomic bomb were sworn to secrecy. These individuals came from all over the world, including some from Nazi Germany, and also included Nobel Prize-winning scientists. There were many challenges that came along, including taking the tiniest particle in the world, the atom, making it even smaller by cutting it in half. These scientists worked many hours a day to figure out the equations and engineering to build a bomb. They worked very hard because there were rumors that Germany was almost finished with their bomb. Finally, the scientists tested the bomb that they called the Trinity. The test was a success. They knew it was very powerful when the effects of the bomb made windows break within a radius of 100 miles. Just 2 short weeks after the Trinity had been tested, the United States dropped bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The plane called the Enola Gay dropped the bomb called the Little Boy on Hiroshima and Fat Man on Nagasaki. Both bombs contained over 20,000 tons of TNT and were so powerful that they killed over 200,000 people, and later on many more from all the exposure to the radiation. Many German scientists who were working to build a bomb thought that the news of the United States bombing Japan was just a rumor. Finally, it was proven to them that the United States had not only won the race to build an atomic bomb, but had also won the War of Japan. The 3 Japanese cities on the list to bomb were Hiroshima, Kokura, and Nagasaki. Hiroshima was chosen as the primary target because it had remained largely untouched by bombing raids, and the effect of the bombs could be clearly measured. Hiroshima was successfully bombed, and when the Japanese would not surrender, the United States decided to bomb one more spot. Kokura was next, but the B-29 bomber made 3 runs over Kokura and could not make a visual drop. Therefore, they went to Plan B and bombed Nagasaki. They chose not to bomb Tokyo because that is where the emperor lived, and the plan was to end the war. If the United States would have bombed Tokyo and killed the emperor of Japan, the Japanese would have probably kept fighting. It took just under 4 years. While there was no official start date, research began in late 1941 and finished in the middle of 1945. Albert Einstein sent a letter to President Franklin Roosevelt telling him about the Germans working on a bomb. A short time later, the United States began work on a bomb. Enrico Fermi was the man in charge of the atomic bomb research. There were over 100,000 Americans involved in the Manhattan Project. Japan announced their surrender on August 15, 1945, and formally signed the Instrument of Surrender on September 2, 1945. The United States experienced triumph as they bombed 2 Japanese cities, which led to the Japanese surrender on September 2, 1945. As the high of the triumph would wear off over the decades to come, the United States would be faced with ultimate tragedy. Soldiers and civilians who were at or near the test sites succumbing to radiation exposure. Some individuals died instantly when the bombs were set off, and others had the radiation exposure living in their bodies for years before death. The destruction that happened in Japan was so severe that it has served as a reason not to launch nuclear bombs to other countries. The destruction that happened on August 6, 1945 and August 9, 1945 will never be forgotten and will stay in our minds forever.
In honored memory of Bob Fryermuth, United States Army, prepare to fire 3 volleys of musketry. Hey!